Hi, I'm Jason Hayes, and I'm the lead composer on World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft provided some interesting challenges that are a little bit different than some of my other experiences. Just lately, that's been a lot of the cinematics for the games and the trailers that promote them. Since StarCraft, I've done a lot of that kind of thing, and World of Warcraft, not only is it an in-game experience, but it's a massively multiplayer role-playing game, which means that people are going to be playing for a long time, hopefully. We would hope for years. So even trying to think of how you would even begin to put music behind that kind of experience is a little bit daunting. So I think early on it was something that we decided that we didn't want to have massive bombastic music playing all the time in the background, because the idea is that would get really tiresome fast if you had to listen to that all the time, even if it's very good music. So the concept that I came up with for it was that we would do something that would try to be a little less linear than typical music. Instead of going from point A to point B on this musical journey, like when I write a piece of music, I guess it's usually kind of like that if I try to analyze it. Instead, trying to kind of bask in one aesthetic moment and kind of stay in that state. So if you're up on this mountain looking at this snowy vista, you just have this one kind of feeling. And if you started the music at the beginning, it would feel like you're just kind of getting the feeling of being in this moment of seeing the snowy landscape. And if you started, a minute and a half into it, it would kind of sound like the same thing. It just like it's like it would always be in that one moment, which made it a little bit easier to fade in this music and then fade it out, hopefully so that you wouldn't really feel like you've just now kicked in the beginning of this composition. More like you were just kind of fading in on the feeling of being in that area and getting a sense, maybe a more dramatic sense of the reality of standing there. At least that's what we were trying to accomplish. Then in addition to all the atmospheric kind of stuff, we were looking for opportunities to kind of punctuate the gameplay experience with things that were a little bit more thematic and a little bit more epic, where we could get away with saying something of a little bit more substance musically. So where we elected to do that was in places like cities. When you first enter a city, thinking of that in movie terms as being like an establishing shot, where all of a sudden, you arrive and you kind of see the first shot, and you can get this theme that maybe represents the people that live in the city. And then beyond that, of course, in instance dungeons, and you have these really fantastic encounters that take place that are very dangerous or exciting, we wanted the opportunity to play some more action-oriented or battle-oriented music, knowing that those particular occasions that would be warranted. Of course, you don't want to be out in the middle of a field killing snakes and have that sound massive and epic, because it's not an epic event. So we wanted to save these little action-oriented moments for like the really special encounters in the game and other special moments. Certain areas also in the world that have special significance because you've just happened upon maybe something famous from the Warcraft lore. We were going to have a little musical intro to kind of say, wow, I finally hit this really cool place. I think the music in the game ended up being on a continuum from the just super atmospheric, textural stuff to things that are a little bit more melodic. And I tend to get excited about the music in the game that has a little bit more of a melodic or thematic quality to it. It's also my concern that some of that stuff might get old quicker than other pieces, because they just inherently they're going to sound a little more catchy. You're going to remember them better. It's just part of the nature of doing that kind of thing. But I think that kind of music is a little bit more expressive. At the end of the day, with a project like this, I think the main goal is to have a situation where maybe for once people won't want to turn the music off, and if in any way this thing can be so organic to the environment to where it feels like it's just an extension of the lighting effects, or like a fog effect, you just really can't imagine it not being there. That's what I really hope can happen, that people get something out of there being music in the game, because it's fairly apparent to me that after playing this game so long, you need something that can kind of blend in. And it's hard sometimes to resist the temptation to doing really big sounding music, especially at Blizzard, where people really love the large scale, massive moments. And I know for sure in the movies that they do here, that I've worked a lot on those, and that's what they're a big fan of. They're a big fan of the giant, epic moment. So hopefully we have some of that in there as well. But I think over the long haul, having the general gameplay experience be a little bit more ambient is probably a good thing.